I think I had a great relationship with the military, basically. But I didn't like certain people. I would have gotten them out if I thought if the election was different, I would have fired all of them quickly. Most of them I did fire. Biden should have fired every military person involved with Afghanistan. He should have had a lot of firings. If you look at him, he told Israel not to do anything, and at least Israel's not going to look at a bomb the way they would have been. Think if they listened to Biden, they'd be waiting for a bomb to drop on their head right now. He's been wrong about so much. I guess you'd have to say that she's been wrong too, because she always said they made the decision together. But Israel didn't follow his advice, and I think it was a very, the Middle East is rapidly changing. There are prophets that say the world will come to an end in the Middle East. You know that, right? And we have weapons today that are so scary. When you look, I rebuilt them all. And when you look at the weapons we have today, the biggest threat we have in the world today is nuclear weapons. And we have other weapons, too, that are devastating. But the nuclear weapons, the biggest threat we have in the world today, and that's what I was talking about de-escalation with both China and Russia. I'm telling you, we were going to de-escalate. They were going to de-escalate. You got to be careful. It's a little tricky playing with them because they say we're going to do it and they don't do it, maybe. But they understood the curse, too. It's a curse. It's China's way behind us, but they'll catch us within 5 years.
So let's imagine, let's say you win in November. What do you do differently, and how do you change this course that it seems we are on for World War III? How do you get us out of Ukraine? How do you stop what's going on in the Middle East? How do you put a stop to this?
Well, it's a very to me, it's an easy question because I think I can do it easily, but it's a complex question in the sense that the times change. Every day changes. Who's winning, who's not winning? I mean, Russia's a war machine. Whether you like it or not, it just grinds along. You speak to people like Viktor Orban, he'll tell you it's just a big, fat war machine, and that's what's happening. You look at what's happened to Ukraine. If I were there, it would have never happened.
But what could you do now? If you get into office in January, what could you do now? Right now,
you would get both of them. I know both very well. And again, I do not want to tell you, for the purpose of looking smart to 5 people that say, oh, he was great. Because if I told you exactly what I do, I could never make the deal. All I can tell you is that I would meet with Putin and I would meet with him, and I know exactly what I'd say to each one of them. And I believe that as president-elect, I would get that war stopped, and stopped fast. We have tremendous power in the United States if you know how to use the power. I stopped other wars just by the use of tariffs. I got Macron of France. Good guy, like a friend of mine, but he's a wise guy. And he's a person that likes France, and he was going to tax our companies. I sent all the smartest guys. I sent Mnuchin. They all failed me. And I said, I'll do it myself. And I called him. I said, Emmanuel, you're taxing American companies. We're not going to allow you to do that. Oh, Donald, I cannot do it. Nothing I could do. It's already been passed. I said, Emmanuel, if you do that, I'm going to put 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes that come into the United States, and you're going to regret that you ever did it. He said, Donald, please, that's not fair. Anyway, within about 2 minutes, he dropped the whole thing, and it was massive amounts of money against American companies. I have to protect American companies.
So why doesn't the Biden administration do this?
Because they're incompetent. They don't know how to talk. Look, they met in Alaska with the Chinese, and the Chinese lectured them about how badly we treat people, right? Okay? I mean, think of it. You remember that? It was like they didn't talk to me that way. They respected me. They respected our country. They don't respect our country. They don't respect Biden. They don't respect her. They're dreaming about her because she's incompetent. She's not a smart person. Look, she can't put 2 sentences together. She talks. I watched her 2 nights. I watched her last night, too. It was the same thing. She's not a smart person. These guys are very smart, and they're very streetwise, and they're very tricky and evil and dangerous. And if she becomes the president of the United States, which I can't believe can happen, I don't think this country is going to make it. I don't think we'll ever be. I think just really bad things will happen to our country. And you know what? I look at the outside forces and I say they can all be handled because we have a pot of gold. But we're not going to have that pot of gold to play with anymore. You know, it's a great negotiating thing. I told you I knocked out this massive car company going to take all of our car business from Detroit. I knocked it out just by my rhetoric. Rhetorically, I said, they'll never sell a car in here. I'll put tariffs. I don't care. They're 2,000%. They're never going to build that plant. And
is it possible to apply that same thing to the electronics that we use? One of the things that disturbs me greatly is that all of our phones are made overseas, and then some of our phones are made in places
and the
like
chips.
Yes, and the chips. And some of our phones are made in places like Foxconn, where they have nets around the building to keep people from jumping off the roof because they have so many suicides. Like, wouldn't it be better to have an American-made iPhone where you know people are paid good wages, they have health insurance, they're taken care of, they can live a good life, where you're not buying a piece of electronics that's cheaper because someone has to suffer in a horrible way that's not even legal in the United States. It's not even legal to have them work that way in the United States, so they get these people to build them overseas.
You do it, but let me just tell you, that chip deal is so bad. We put up billions of dollars for rich companies to come in and borrow the money and build chip companies here, and they're not going to give us the good companies anyway. All you had to do is charge them tariffs. If you would have put a tariff on the chips coming in, you would have been able to, just like the auto companies, no different. More sophisticated, but no different. You know, Taiwan, they stole our chip business, okay? They want us to protect, and they want protection. They don't pay us money for the protection, you know? The mob makes you pay money, right? But with these countries that we protect, I got hundreds of billions of dollars from NATO countries that were never paying us. And my biggest fan is Stoltenberg, who just left as the Director General, as a Secretary General. A good guy. He said Bush came, he made a speech. Obama came, he made a speech. Trump came, he said, you guys aren't paying, you got to pay. And they said, will you protect us from Russia if we don't? I said, no, you got to pay if you don't pay. Billions of dollars came in to NATO. When I see us paying a lot of money to have people build chips, that's not the way. You didn't have to put up 10 cents. You could have done it with a series of tariffs. In other words, you tariff it so high that they will come and build their chip companies for nothing. In other words, Joe, you put a big tariff on the chips coming in. I say, you don't have to pay the tariff. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States. We didn't have to give them the money to build a plant. Besides that, they're very rich companies, these chip companies. They stole 95% of our business. It's in Taiwan right now. They do a great job, but that's only because we have stupid politicians. We lost the chip business, and now we think we're going to pay. You can't build it that way. You have to make them spend their money in the United States, and those plants would open up all over, and they'll fund them. We don't have to put up 10 cents. And I am in the process of making a huge speech in about a little while, and you and I, how long have we been talking?
A long time.
Let's go.
Probably like 3 hours.
I got to make a speech.
Right.
But we'll do it again. I want to do it again with you.
Okay.
You are something.
Thank you very
I
much.
said, how long will this last? Anywhere from an hour to 3 or 4 hours.
How long we do, Jamie? 3 hours.
Good. Well, we'll do it again. I thought it was great. I think it was great.
It was a lot of fun.
You are a fascinating guy, and you've done a great job.
Thank you very much.
I'm a big fan, and thank you very much. It's been an honor. And
it's been an honor to have you on
I'm going
as
to make
well.
a great speech, and I'm going to say, and if I'm a little off tonight, I'm going to blame you. I'm going to say I spoke to this guy for 3 hours.